The Spanish Football Federation president, Luis Rubiales, has caused shockwaves across the sport and beyond. He refuses to resign despite kissing the player Jenni Hermoso on the lips. He was widely expected to quit following the incident after Sunday's World Cup final won by Spain. But he told an emergency meeting of the federation that, quote, false feminism and social assassination were at play. He even received a standing ovation from male and female delegates in the hall. This was after he also threatened to take female Spanish government ministers to court after they said the kiss was a form of sexual violence. Here's some of that speech given by Rubiales at today's meeting.
Do you think this is a reason to suffer the persecution I am suffering? Do you honestly think so? What one has to say publicly might be different, but do you think it's a reason for me to suffer this hounding, to ask my resignation? Is it so serious that I have to leave after having achieved the best performance in the history of Spanish football? Do you think I should have to resign? Well, I'm going to tell you something. I will not resign. I will not resign. I will not resign. I will not resign.
And Dana Barcelona from DW Sports is with me. Dana, you're a professional footballer yourself, and you also have played in Spain, so you're uniquely qualified to talk about this. I mean, that statement, that defiance that was on show there, are you surprised?
Both, a little bit. Because, I mean, as soon as the kiss happened, there was immediate outrage all across social media, federations, teams, news outlets, players, everyone. But he, Spanish President FA, Luis Rubiales, he did not seem to realize the gravity of his actions. He defended it. He actually called people stupid who thought anything bad of it. And then I think after the outcry, he was forced to kind of release a statement where it was almost a half apology. But the shock was that after all this outcry, people thought he was going to resign. Mm-hmm. He was advised to resign. It was pretty clear that this meeting today was for him to resign. And he was so defiant in saying, I will not resign. And then he almost painted Jenni Hermoso to not being the victim. He was the victim. He said it was consensual and they were, friends, and it was a kiss that he would give to his daughters. That was absolutely shocking for everyone. And also the fact that the federation applauded that was even more shocking. Now, this is definitely not going to be over from here because, FIFA's opened an investigation. There's judicial proceedings underway. Jenni Hermoso has been receiving wide support from men and women's professional players, David De Gea, Iker Casillas, Hector Bellerin, saying this is embarrassing. So this is definitely not over right now.
But also, he has had some support. Several football greats have defended him. Also, both Spanish national coaches, the men's team coach and the women's team coach, what are they not seeing?
Right. I think it's more what we're not seeing is he's the boss of Spanish football. Mm-hmm. He gave these people their very high-paying jobs. Jorge Vilda, who's the women's coach of Spain, Rubiales was essentially the number one person who backed him when the team went to the federation and said, we have a problem, with the coach and the methods and the professionalism of the national team. So, I mean, we also can't forget that he is a member of the UEFA Executive Committee. So there's a lot of backs that are being scratched here. So, of course, some people can't really say anything against him.
Now, what does this mean for the women's game? Would something like this ever happen in men's football?
I mean, it really brings to light the ugly side of women's football and how often these sexism scandals and incidents happen, not just in Spanish women's football, but in women's football, period. We can't forget, Rubiales was one of the people that the women's national team said, he doesn't take women's football seriously. He doesn't respect women's football. When the national team players went to him to voice their concerns about the conditions in the national team, he didn't listen to them. The federation didn't listen to them. So essentially, he's given them no choice. And that is unfortunately a very sad reality, and that happens all the time in women's football.
Dana Barcelona, DW Sports, thank you very much.